So what would you say is probably the most complicated inheritance deal that you guys have ever closed at your company?
So one, it was a home that was in need of repair. It was right in Nashville, kind of downtown Nashville area, and the individual had reached out. He'd been trying with other companies, um, and then they get the process started, and then it would just kind of fall apart because of the complexities to it. And so, with this one in particular, he was inheriting the house, and he was really the kind of the leader of getting it done. And a lot of times we see that someone's kind of taking charge, trying to like get the house sold, take those movements necessary. And so we were able to work with him directly on it, but it turned out, when he inherited the house, they actually did not do probate. And so it turned into 15 other heirs, 16 total. And we had to trace all the family trees, call funeral homes, read through obituaries, contact multiple hospitals, reach out and get the contact information with every single person, on top of the affidavits of heirship, people that are just friends that can verify everything. On top of that, many of those heirs had judgments, which happens. And so you have to obviously go through that, and then also understand and communicate with everyone too, how the dispersion of funds is going to work. Who is owed what, and how is that determined? Sometimes that can be very, very, those are difficult conversations that they are. And so,
Yep.
But there are laws in place, and we have to abide by those. And so, but how we communicate it and ensure everyone's on the same page, gets the same information, trying to at the same time. So we try to eliminate the he said, she said, or telephone game. We try to be those messengers. But in this case, it took many months, tracking everyone down, getting the each person clear, confirming the relationships. But we were able to get it closed. His name was Raymond. He had been trying for years to get the house sold. It inevitably was a teardown. It was not a house necessarily that could really be generally fixed up and whatnot. But what Raymond loved too was that house is going to be able to have multiple houses built on it for multiple families. And so that's a great way that we're able to communicate and allow people to see like what is the next benefit for the community overall. And we try to communicate what it looks like on the back end, so they just have an understanding, because we understand. I mean, that's where they grew up. That was in their family, and that's really the biggest inheritance that they are getting. And so that one, it took a lot out of the team. Many people had a hand on it, getting things coordinated, and just communicating with people and reconnecting family members. That was another big thing, was reconnecting people that had not talked in years and didn't even know certain people still were alive. So it was very rewarding, very hard, very difficult. Took a lot of communication, a lot of just persistence as well, but very rewarding in the end for everybody.
Yeah, those are tough. I've had a few of those. We did have one a few years ago. The seller just said, you know what, it's not worth it. There was 31 heirs identified. And he's like, you know what, I'm just going to live here till I die, and I'll let the county take the house. You find that a lot. You mentioned that was near kind of downtown Nashville. We find that too, where I'm from in Atlanta. You get some of these old houses down in Atlanta that have been multiple generations of families, and they haven't done probate, and they, it's a big ball of yarn to unwind. And and there are legal steps that you have to take, which is why we consult with good attorneys. You have good attorneys that you consult with in the Nashville area. On Probate Resource Nashville page, we've got a lot of content I did with April Jackson. She's a probate attorney there in the Nashville area. And you have to follow those steps. You can't omit the steps, because the steps are there to protect the family so that people don't get screwed out of their inheritance, right? And it's a hard pill to swallow sometimes when people are like, wait a minute, this money has to be spread across, my second cousin Johnny or whatever. It's like, yeah, that's what the law says.
Right.
And, I'm sorry, but, we had a deal 2 years ago where we got all the way to the finish line the day before closing. Okay. And the people had reached out to us. and we had helped them probate. We took them to the probate court. We even helped give some bail money to one of the heirs to get out of jail because we needed her signature. And she had gotten arrested for something stupid one night or whatever, and we needed her signature. And she, so anyways, we got that worked out. We were doing all these things, right? And I got her connected with my probate attorney. My probate attorney agreed to do the case kind of pro bono up front, and then he would get reimbursed at closing, which we do that very frequently. And we got everything involved, and we got to the day before closing. And one of the heirs involved, early on, we had asked that, did this person have any children? And she said, no, this person had no children and wasn't married at the time of death. This is all critical information. This is very critical to the deal. And cool, we took her word for it. My attorney, the probate attorney, took her word for it. My closing attorney took her word for it. We went all the way. And then the title underwriter at the last minute said, well, hey, I just need a copy of her obituary to put in my file for closing. I said, sure, no problem. We'll find it. We couldn't find it online. So we called the local funeral home, and they were like, yeah, we have a copy of it. The lady had died, 2008 or something. It'd been a while since she died, right? And we get the obituary from them because they had to send us a copy of it, and so-and-so was survived by 4 children. And I called the lady we had been dealing with, the administrator, and I said, you told me that she didn't have any kids. I said, we can't close tomorrow because you lied to me and you knew she had kids and you didn't tell me. And she totally lied because her aunt was one of the heirs, had lived with them. So she knew her aunt. She purposely omitted this information because she knew that money would be spread across these additional heirs. Well, it came back to bite her. And then I couldn't close. And now we said, we got to track down all of these people and go find them. One of them was dead. And it became a whole mess. And then she got mad at me, blasted me out on the internet because she said I didn't close on the deal. And I said, you lied to me.
Yeah.
And now this is the problem. So then she ends up then selling the house to another investor behind my back, but didn't tell him either. Didn't pay my probate attorney. So he got screwed out of $4,000 worth of work. And then, but the crazy part is when that investor went to go sell that house, he then had to deal with the title issues that weren't resolved because his attorney missed it. There was a title claim. I had spent a lot of my own money in the deal to try to help them out, thousands of dollars to get that. When my team was driving her to the probate court and all that stuff, taking her to wherever because she didn't have a car. In the end, the moral of the story is that we ask these questions up front because they are important. Because if we don't resolve them, they will come up later because we have to follow the laws and the rules.
It's going to come up.
Right.
And it's okay if it's a little messy or if there's some things to uncover, that's fine. And we try to have people feel comfortable with that because it is a burden, it's a pain point, and it's something it's a touchy subject, but I don't want them to know about this with my family. There's no judgment. It's just simply so that we can get it closed. Because yes, legally, we have to know these things or we will find them out because they are recorded. It's public information. Or it went through the legal system of some way. And now when we come back, it can get pretty complicated. But at the end of the day, we're going to know. It's always better let's talk about it up front.
Yeah, exactly. Let's just talk about it up front. Air out all the dirty laundry up front so that we know what we're working with and we can tailor the best and fastest solution for you possible to get the deal to the finish line.